right, well, good to see y'all. Hopefully y'all enjoyed a break from the Tigers this past week, but we're ready to get back at it. It's good to get back going. Team had great energy as I anticipated last night. Good for them to have a little bit of a break, staff too, to kind of just again, as I always say, kind of renew your spirit a little bit, and good weekend to do that. Great week last week as far as what we needed to do for Clemson and things we needed to work on and focus on, and then obviously preparation for a really, really talented Miami team. This is a very good football team, and we're getting ready to play. I mean, they're 4-2 like we are, but I mean, this is a really, really good team. Loaded all across the board on both sides of the ball. Excellent quarterback, can make all the throws, very experienced. They got 3 great backs, not good backs. I think all 3 are elite. Outstanding receiver core, very similar to the Florida State group that we saw as far as just a bunch of playmakers. Got some size, they got speed, they got quickness. We pretty much the guys we saw last year, so we're a little bit familiar with them, although they didn't have their quarterback last year, so that was obviously the difference in the game for them. They didn't have him, and really good up front, big, well coached, do a great job, just technically, fundamentally, understand their scheme, and then defensively, they got a ton of depth and a ton of experience. Guys that played a lot of football. Pretty much all the guys in the secondary are back except for 22 who's a transfer in. Had a linebacker that's come in. He's a very good player, 51. But other than that, they've just kind of added to what they had last year. A very deep group up front, rotate a lot of guys, athletic. Just again, top to bottom, a really good football team. And they've obviously had 2 tough games that have gone against them, but this is a team that can beat anybody in the country. I think just kind of like we are. I think we're a team that can play with anybody in the country, can beat anybody, but we can also lose to anybody. That's kind of where we are in college football right now. And you got to play well. So that'll be the case for us. We got to go down and we got to play well and to give ourselves a chance to win this game. But a great opportunity for us, and I'm sure it'll be a great environment, a great matchup down in Miami at 8 o'clock. I look forward to getting back at it.
Coach, obviously the bye is a great time to heal up physically, but from a mental standpoint for the players, how important is it to be able to kind of reset and take a breath?
It's big. I mean, most people don't really realize what all these guys do. I mean, I think a lot of times we forget that these are human beings and that they're not robots. They're not a part of a Madden game. I mean, these are real people and they're students. I mean, there's a lot going on, for these guys. Academically, they're young people, socially, you name it. They've been grinding, for all summer, and then you go through all camp, and now you got 6 weeks, and you got performance and expectations and all these. That's a lot on these guys. It's a lot on anybody. So it's great for them to be able to just kind of get a break and get involved. They did a great job last week, and we've created a little bit of momentum these last couple of ball games, and that's something that we certainly hope to be able to continue. But we've got to go earn that, and we've got to go play well. But I thought they had good spirits to them last night. And the biggest thing is just we're a pretty beat up football team. In that Wake Forest game, when we had Antonio Williams for 3 games. Nate's out, Sheridan's out. I mean, obviously Cole Turner has played 1 game. He's out for the year. Wallace Walker Park. So it's good to be able to get that break when it came, because now we anticipate having everybody. With the exception of course, Walker and Cole starters will be out for the year. So I think mentally and physically we're probably in as good a spot as we've been, since the beginning of the season.
Is there a tangible growth that you think the team has made over since the Wake Forest game, or is it mental, physical, and that's really the best you can even ask for?
Since the Wake Forest game, yeah, I think there's a tangible growth, but it's I mean, it is tied to just the physical aspect of it, you know, and the physical aspect of it affects the mental aspect of it. You know, certainly we've done some things, you know, within our practice and within our meetings that you know, it just, and not just football stuff, but just what we do. Like we had community service last Tuesday, and I think that's a tangible thing that you can see when you see guys serving, you know. So I think that's a part of growth, but I think the biggest piece of it is just the physical aspect and how that impacts you mentally. And so, you know, got a long way to go. We got 6 more tough days ahead, and again, I think we're a team that can win any game, but I think anybody can beat us too. I mean, I think that's kind of where we are, and we got to play well, and so hopefully we can stay healthy and continue to add some momentum to what we've done in the past couple games.
Number 7 for Miami, the restricted slot receivers. One
He's
of the
a
best
player.
slots you'll see all season.
Yeah, and he played last year. In fact, I think he was the backup to Zero last year, and this year they both played a ton. And both of them are really good players. 3's really good. He can fly. 4's a really good player as well. He's their big guy, but 7 is. I mean, they've spread the ball around pretty good, but he's the guy that seems to be they want to force the ball to. You know, and whether it be motioning him, creating bunch sets, moving him around. They do a good job. He's an excellent slot. He's savvy. You know, you can tell he's played a lot of football. He really understands the nuances of defense. He understands the nuances of route running, and he's got excellent ball skills. He's a tough kid. I really like him. I like his game a lot. He's an impressive player, and you know, so yeah, he's a handful. We got to do a good job in knowing where he is and winning that matchup.
Coach, as you mentioned, Van Dyke didn't play against you last year. He had a great freshman season, had a rough season, sophomore campaign, but playing great this year. How much of that do you think is due to just his maturity and growth, and how much with the new offensive coordinator, Coach Dawson?
Yeah, I think both. I mean, obviously he's healthy, and he's certainly a much more confident, mature player. Just going through the progression of his career, I think their coordinator's done a great job in really using all the pieces. I mean, they're a physical team. And, I mean, they're rushing for 190 a game and they're throwing for 310, so almost 500 yards a game. I mean, this has been a very explosive and experienced group. But it starts with him. I mean, he understands, you know, their system, where to go with the ball. He's not a guy that you think of as far as going to break long runs, but he can create. You know, he's athletic enough to extend plays, and then he can make all throws. I mean, he can rip the seams apart. He can throw it on the outside. They do a lot of screens, a lot of screen game. He's got a good feel for those plays and setting those up. So he's a good football player, big kid, and you know, we got to try to affect it. You know, that's just what it comes down to.
Yeah, but it seems like there's a lot of teams out there that can beat anybody, but also lose to anybody.
Yeah.
Was that reinforced to you sitting and watching games over the
Yeah, oh yeah, man. I mean, it's college football. I mean, anything can happen in college football, especially today's version of college football. I mean, it's a battle every single week. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter who it is. Anybody can beat anybody. Truly. I mean, that's not many teams that can just show up. So, you know, and we're a team, like I said. I mean, we're a couple plays from being undefeated, and that's just a fact. We've played really well for the most part throughout the year in the things that you have to do to win games, whether it be physicality, toughness, belief, attitude, discipline, you know, those type of things. Being able to win in the line of scrimmage, running and stopping the run. We've done a really good job in those areas. Third down. You know, we've been a really good third down team all year, but we've had a couple tough breaks, and we've played good teams, and they've made one more play than we have. But I really think this team, based on how they play, can play with anybody. But you know, we're not a team that can just show up and not play well. You know, we don't have to play perfect, but we got to play well to win games against the teams that we play. This is a really good league, Everybody we play, I think, has a chance to win every single week. And I think you see that across the country, you know, really all over. And so, you know, you've got to show up, got to be ready. And then at Clemson, we're going to get everybody's best shot. You just know that. It just comes with being the Tigers. It doesn't matter if the team's 1-6 or undefeated or it's a noon game or a night game. When the Tigers come to town, whatever juice they got, you're gonna get it. And that just comes with you know, who we are here at Clemson. So you got to be ready for that.
You mentioned Antonio, Nate, and Sheridan. What did all three of those guys kind of get done or do from the last game to this, and where you feel so good about them
They
being ready
just
to roll?
healed. We just wrapped them in bubble wrap, and now those guys. Well, you know, Nate's been grinding for a couple. What did he miss? 2 games. He missed 2 games. So I mean, he's just been grinding through his rehab and doing what he needs to do. And he was really close against Wake, but couldn't quite go like he wanted to. Same thing with Antonio. So just time. I mean, and just continuing through the rehab process. Our doctors and all them have done a great job. And then Sherry was just a really weird situation. And so we've gotten all the tests back and all that stuff all checked out. Good for him.
I don't care how good the high school program was, college football is completely different. You guys have gotten production from some young freshmen on your team this year. How valuable was that break for them? You know, thinking of so many guys right now that are producing. Have you seen kind of a reset, a refresh, or even just a breath of fresh air for them?
Yes, and that's so true. I mean, it's a huge change. You know, again, and we've had a lot. You know, I mean, ever since I've been a head coach, we've had a lot of freshmen that have had a lot of success for us. We've had freshmen start at just about every position on our roster, maybe every position. But it is a toll. You know, when you're talking about the tutorial program, Triple E, the requirements there from the study hall, the way our provost is run here, the provost runs our academics and the requirements there. I mean, it's a lot on these guys. That's why we, you know, one of the top in the country when it comes to graduation and academics from a